going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Small Town Podcast. We're here in the Loft in Lansdale, Pennsylvania. Today my guest is Brian Walker from A Day Without Love, a tremendous band. Brian's a tremendous musician. He's kind of the mastermind behind the whole project. He's written countless songs, and he's an interesting character, and I was really excited to get him on the show. He has a lot of interesting things to say, not only here in the interview that I did with him, but on his blog on the Day Without Love website. If you go on adaywithoutlove.com, he's got a lot of interesting insights into the scene and just the way the music industry is now, and that kind of came out in the interview, and that was pretty cool. And we just kind of talked. He was one of the first kind of I don't know Brian that well, and I kind of wanted. It's kind of the point of this whole thing is to reach out and have an opportunity to get to know musicians that I wouldn't otherwise get to know. So it was cool. He was one of the first ones when I kind of did like a preliminary. I just sent like a mass text to people and just to people who would want to be interested. And he was one of the first ones who got back, and I picked him up at the Lansdale station today at 4:00, and it was pretty fun. And we were talking the whole way to my apartment, and then and we had a great conversation. Lasted about an hour, and we touched on some great points. We're talking about the Kevin Devine, the newest Kevin Devine record called Instigator, and I never really took the time to listen to Kevin Devine, but Brian recommended it, and I really liked it. I think the new Kevin Devine is pretty good. It's called Instigator. We talk about that not really in depthly, but we do touch on it, and I think Brian is such a cool guy and a big presence that we started talking about everything under the sun, everywhere in between, from the music industry to just, holding down a day job and, trying to fit in everything and go on tour and just trying to be a musician and trying to survive in this world and trying to survive in the new digital age. So a lot of cool points in the conversation. And if I may dare say, it was probably the best episode I've done so far, even though it's only the third episode. And the first two episodes are great too. Tom and Adam were great. But I really enjoyed this episode with Brian Walker from A Day Without Love. Here we go. Enjoy. It's just kind of the way the technology works. The signals come in, and it just you don't want to mess with the cones and how, like, because I think like it wears over time, and you really want your lasting value.
That's very true. It's also like treating a tube amp. You gotta exactly. You gotta be gentle with that shit.
Mm-hmm. That's not a tube amp, but that's they make Marshall tube amps like that, which cost way more money than that. Yeah, but yeah.
I used to play out of a Marshall, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you play out now?
Depends on what my setup is. So, like, if I'm just playing by myself, I play out of a Blues Junior.
Okay.
There was a time where I was playing out of a Fender Deluxe. That was my old drummer's deal. I also sometimes play out of an Orange. It depends on what lineup I'm playing with, to be honest with you.
Oh, I gotcha.
Because sometimes it's not my gear. It might be their gear, and it's like... But I definitely have, like, my tone settings set down with, like, both my guitars and stuff like that.
Yeah, and so, yeah. You kind of tailor it to whatever kind of, band you're playing in, or, like, the type of show you're playing? Like
Both. So,
okay.
Like, it's who's the lineup and, like, what are the acoustics of the room.
Gotcha.
I still, like, generally still have the same guitar tone, but I might adjust it a tad bit. I'm very weird, and I think that has a lot to do with, like, having friends that are producers and sound guys, and like I hear them complain like, this band has no concept of gain. You know?
So that guy's got to like tune that g's got to mess with his knobs more.
Yeah. So
adjust
like,
the mid-range. Like
yeah.
that.
So there's a lot of times, like even I played a Milk Boy last week.
Oh, did you? The new Milk Boy?
The new one.
Yeah.
And
how was that? Is that good?
It was great. The thing that I think is sometimes like you wish for is playing a new venue or a new city or town, and there's already a built-in crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd's
That's
like
tough,
supportive, and like that's not always a thing like here in Philly or like something that always happens.
Yeah, the turnover rate for venues and forums, like it gets hectic, and then like people have to find where everything's going.
Exactly.
And like they gotta like catch up with each other later.
And I think Milk Boy South worked out because one, before it was Milk Boy South, it was a bar. Right. So the people that were going to that bar, just like, oh, it's the same place I drink, but a different name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Under new management.
Yeah, and they have music now. It's even more fun.
Yeah.
So that's what was happening, and like people liked it. But during like my sound check, I said to the lady like, hey, I like the sound. Now, do you mind if I do a tone check? She was like, whoa, people don't usually do that. And I was like, no, you have to.
Wow, sophisticated.
You know what I mean? You have to check
She was super impressed.
to make sure the levels are right and then make sure the tone's right, and then you go.
Mm-hmm.
So
I always wish I had like a duplicate me.
Oh,
so,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just so I could play and, adjust my tone and then just to the room and then like have the same me, like a doppelganger, like go out into like where I would stand if I was a spectator, and then hear everything and like, oh, okay, that bass is way too much. Like
Exactly.
it's like,
yeah,
homie's got to turn down. Like,
yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, like Philly venues, man. Like, what are your? Would you say that? Did you ever play the old Milk Boy?
I did. I actually did play the old Milk Boy.
I did too. Yeah, I played it with Nate Allbach at one point. And it was like a little stripped down like acoustic show.
Gotcha.
It wasn't a big production. But what are your like favorite Philly venues? Like what to play or like to go see? Like it.
When it comes to like just venues in general, I guess I could put this in 3 tiers: like houses, and then there's like your bar venues.
Yeah, houses and bars, and then you're like actual
your big giant venues.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to say like big giant venues, I'm a big fan of. Man, this is a tie. Actually, I'm just gonna say Union Transfer. Okay. I was gonna say TLA.
That's a big one for me.
Yeah, Union Transfer. I like that a lot. I've had some good times there, on a music level and even on just like a party level. So like definitely Union Transfer.
And they're super accommodating, and they consistently have good acts come through.
Exactly.
Like just I don't know if they just know who I am, but they always have like. They know when like the really cool shows are coming through. Like I'm a big Death Grips fan, and they played there a few times, and like just they'll have like Me Without You play with like the Appleseed Cast, and like
I saw the Hop Along Appleseed Cast Me Without You at the Troc.
Oh, that's that's at the Troc.
That blew my mind.
Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, you were right.
Yeah,
that was totally at the Troc. That was my bad. But yeah, that was the show. It was Me Without You, and it would Hop Along open. Yeah, and that was really cool.
And then
I was up in the balcony.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I guess I don't know how we missed each other. But,
oh shit.
But Appleseed Cast, they like blew out their bass amp. Remember?
Did they?
They blew out something. And then remember the guitars just started
was
talking?
Was that when like there were guys like running around and there was like
yeah,
oh, okay,
that was really goofy.
I just thought there was some kind of like sound technical difficulty or whatever.
It was funny, but if I were to talk about like
that's crazy. But
venues,
I'm a big I like First U like
First U,
and for a while they weren't having shows.
That's true.
I don't know if they weren't having shows or R5 just backed out and they just became under new management, I guess, like just for like the local shows. I
don't know. I mean, I know that R5, like the actual office is at the First Unitarian. I don't know if you knew that, but it is.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Actually,
for some reason, like I read an article where R5 wasn't going to do booking there anymore.
That's possible.
Yeah.
But for a time, that's like where Sean Agnew's office was.
Okay.
Like where he was doing business. And I once rented out the First Unitarian when I had this nonprofit called The Quarterly. It was like a charity.
Oh, okay.
And we did a show, The First Unitarian, and I could say like, probably giving out like private information here, but it costs about $800 to $1,000 to just run a show there.
Yeah.
like because of the rental space and all the rules and regulations.
Yeah, the
and
liability and the
liabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So every one of those shows that was happening, you had that much down, and then how much did you get back from like the shows and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Given the fact that Sean owns Union Transfer and Boot and Saddle, I guess I guess he might have done like a cost effectiveness analysis.
Okay.
Contrary to the fact that the church is such a legendary value.
Oh
like,
my God.
You can't really put a number on that. But if you were like thinking strategically, I that's my guess. I don't know, but my guess is that's probably what it was.
It was because like I saw I went to see Bear vs. Shark. Do you like them?
Oh yeah, they're great.
Yeah, and they I almost slept on it because like I remember seeing earlier this year that they were touring. It must have been the summertime, and then they were coming. That Philly was one of their dates, and it was October 1st at First Unit. I remember because it was the day I moved in here.
Gotcha.
it was move-in day, and once I was done moving, I'm just like, all right, I'm going to the city.
Exactly.
And they were so good, and First U is such a good venue, and they packed that show out. They really did, and like, and yeah, the stage is great. It's not huge, but
yep.
It's intimate enough where like, you know, like I'm like up with the singer, like, and he's like, and the singer from Bear vs. Shark is really cool, and he's crazy, and he stage dives, and it was a really good show, and I was just like, wow, I really like the First U because I saw Death Grips there too.
Yeah.
So I've been to a lot of good shows at First U. Boot and Saddle was cool. I saw Nate Auerbach's record. He had his record release there.
That's awesome.
It was the same night as the Andros tour kickoff.
Huh.
So once we had like a matinee show with
Okay.
Andros and Heartline, More Than Sound, and the POF.
I've heard of POF.
P-
Yeah.
You're the POF?
No, I've heard of them. Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah.
And they're the bass player in Andros, Drew. His little brother Sean is their bass player. And that's one of the bigger. I think it was Big City Noise. They backed out of the show originally of our tour kickoff, and we needed to fill in like right away because they were like, well, you know, how are we going to justify having like a matinee show with like 3 bands, and then like, and I was just like, I'll come up with something. And Drew, our bass player, is like, my little brother's in a band. They're called the POF, and I'm like, I had never heard them, and like it was like, and I didn't care. I was just like, okay, sure,
Yeah,
they can play.
I completely relate.
Absolutely,
to that.
and they played, and they blew the house down. It
That's
was
awesome.
so good. They're teenage. They're 18.
Yeah.
Like I think the oldest is like turning 20, but like they're in high school, and oh my god, they're so good. And like I was literally blown away, and they just came out with their new record.
Actually, I mean, I've heard them. I haven't listened to them, so I'm gonna have to do that.
You'll listen to them because they're really, and they're really worth it. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that you mentioned that you wanted to do like a local little shout out to?
Kyle Bosler.
Who is that?
He was the bassist of a band called Uncle Father Oscar. And they're from Delaware County, and I did a split with them.
Oh, okay.
And then now he's in Sister City. They're a pop punk band that's like half the members are from Baltimore, half the members are from Philly. Okay. And he just joined this band called Children's Books. Okay. And he has a solo project, and we've been friends for like the past 2-3 years. And he has this new record out called Hollow Hymns. And he recorded that at Philly Sound Studios with Tom Conran.
Yes, I know Tom Conran.
Yeah, yeah. And Tom Conran was also in Uncle Father Oscar.
Oh my God, that's right. That was the band he was in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I know Uncle Father Oscar.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the record's like, have you heard of Tancred?
No.
That's the solo project of the lead guitarist of Now Now.
Oh, okay.
So Tancred has 3 albums out. And Tancred's first album was like very confessional and acoustic. And like, you know, like there's definitely those records where it's like confessional, and every song is clearly about the same person or thing.
Yeah, it's like different chapters in the same book.
The same book. And that's kind of how I felt about Hollow Hymns. And it was very like beautiful, like, you know, and it was a mixture of heavy and light. The vocal layers was really good. I liked it a lot.
What's it called? Tancred?
The project Kyle Bosler is the singer.
Okay, it's Kyle Bosler. Okay.
And I was just saying that it reminded me of Tancred, but like with
Tancred,
male,
okay.
but with male vocals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know so many like local artists that I do not know. So it's like
I've been around.
Well, no, it's good. It's like
Yeah.
that's kind of the point of like, you know, why I'm doing this. It's just because like you know, I just kind of had this feeling where I was like, I feel kind of isolated.
Yeah.
You know, I'm only so close to the actual city where I feel like there's like a lot of budding creativity and like this kind of this kind of creative hotbed where, you know, things will pop up and it's really good, but it runs the risk of being very temporary, and then like, you know, it could be just gone before I even knew who they are.
You're so on point about that. I was talking to this girl from Chicago the other day about like music being temporary, and maybe I sound vain, maybe I sound crazy, but I plan on playing music the rest of my life. I mean, maybe
I do too, man. Like
I might be 60.
It's in the cards. Like,
you know, like I'll still have a day job, you know, given like
right.
But if it becomes my day job, like music, then so be it. But how can I put it? Like, there's a lot in the past 4 years that has a temporary value, and it's always for a different reason. Sometimes like maybe the person doesn't feel it anymore, maybe the person became a dentist, like maybe the person has a kid, right? There's all sorts of stuff.
So like maybe this person went like insane and moved to Montana, and you're just like,
what happened to that riff?
Yeah, it's like, it was so good.
Yeah,
it was that guy that did the split like with my friend, and you know that once they played the house show, and it's like so it's like it's elusive where and I don't, and it's tough to get it's tough for a band to stick around, and I know that more than anybody, just because like I've been in like I lost count of the amount of bands that I've been like at least a part of since I was 13 years old. So it's like I've been playing music half of my life now.
True.
Like, so half of my life has been consumed with writing music, playing shows, making records, and not all with the same people, the same members. So it's like, and the same like group of people and like with like similar mindsets. It's just like I've had to kind of borrow different mindsets and take them into other projects and be like, you know, this band didn't really work out because they were like this. So like I'm gonna like try and do it this way in this new thing. So it's like, you know, it's tough to keep a one thing going just because life is just so chaotic.
True.
And like you do what you can. Like I've had Andros since. Really, I really started it like the first MySpace page.
Dude, I remember I wanted to play guitar for you. I couldn't do it. I mean, this is for such a dark reason. Well, it's because my grandfather was dying.
I do remember that.
Like, I was just like,
I'm sorry, that's...
I know, but like, I was learning them, and I was just like, but just to prove the point we're making. Like, that stuff happens.
Shit just happens. And like, and dude, there's no, like, it doesn't, like, things just, you know, I had other options, and I had, like, and... I went through a lot of guitar players, like especially like in that time, just because you know, I didn't even know at one point, like I didn't even like imagine Andros being a full band because I started it as like a side project.
Sure.
I started it as a side project from the I was in high school, and there was like we were in a metal band, and like, you know, we were playing like the YMCA, and we got to play the Troc in this like Battle of the Bands, and like I got to play the main stage of the Trocadero when I was like 16. So like that was like just a one time, and it was like in the afternoon, but like it wasn't glamorous, but like, you know, that was what was consuming my time because we were making a demo, and we were kids, and we were trying to be this hot new thing. And I was like, you know, I like writing music like on my own volition, where it's not for this, you know, huge thing. So like at that point, that's what started me having a band that I could kind of see the vision, I guess, and like I can, like, you know, I can be the arbiter of where the musical vision is going to go, how the music's going to be, how the records are going to go, and then, you know, if other people get excited about it and want to hop in, they're certainly welcome. So it's like, you know, Andros has had tons of member lineups, but that's only because, you know, just what you were saying, it's just like things happen.
Life
like
happens.
Like, you know, someone wants to go to college, like in like New Jersey, like our drummer couldn't go on tour with us because he was an app developer, our old drummer Dan, and he was like, I'm moving to Trenton, and like I'm gonna be like working like, you know, I'm gonna be like living in a place where someone else is paying my rent, but I must work on this app, and I
True.
must like, because there's investors in on this, and like I really can't do anything else. So it's
True.
like, it's like whatever you can imagine. It's like this crazy stuff that kind of flies at you in life. But I've always just had the thing where I enjoy making music. I'm probably going to do it until I'm dead.
The type of music might change.
Right. And
that's for sure.
And the reasons why, and like the means in which you're doing it may change, but it's like you still, it's just a part of who you are.
Exactly.
It's your identity, and like you own it that way. You own the way in which you do that.
Yeah.
So.
Or like even like the way you go about it. Like my friend, she ripped my head off. She's like, you played across the country in Chicago, and you're such a smart guy. Why don't you just get your day job? And I was like, because I want to tour right now.
Yeah.
Like,
And I always go back and forth where it's like, it's hard to balance the whole having, your real life, and then having your music life, having your having the life that like no one else can have.
Exactly.
So it's like not no one else, but like is unique to like your interests.
Yeah, I think I've been fortunate this first 3 years because I graduated with a master's degree in business psychology 3 years ago. Yeah, so like my degree is like MBA, working in corporate businesses and stuff.
I'm down here in associate's line.
Yeah,
So.
no, it's cool. But like the one thing that I've learned, and I think I'm been lucky so far, is like the first job I had, I was contracted with Comcast, right? So I could flex my show schedule as a contracted employee.
Gotcha.
And I was still making a really good salary. My second job, I was working as a consultant for Accenture, which is a consulting firm. They let me work from home.
Oh.
So I was working from tour instead of working from home. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
And that's okay. Because the thing is,
you could travel and then like
my clients were doing the same thing. It might not have been music, but it might have been something else. Like I remember I had one client that worked for Dow Chemical, and they were also a traveling chef.
Oh wow!
So you know what I mean? Like there are jobs out there. Like what I'm doing now is I work for a nonprofit doing social media part time. Okay. So like I get to flex my schedule. So like I think it's definitely doable to have like a livable salary and play music. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's totally doable.
It's just a matter of like what sort of career path you want to choose.
Yeah, I think music kind of lit a fire, like I guess like under my ass to be like, you have this energy in you, you have this like ability. So it's like it sort of comes with a responsibility. Like if you're gonna do this and like go away for a few months or weeks at a time to go on tour, or like invest in making a record, or invest in whatever. It's like when you invest in the band, it's like you need something to back it up. You need you need a little bit of security there. You need a place to live. You gotta eat. Yeah. So like it's almost like a little it's almost like that extra motivation to like take care of yourself and actually take on a skill that's not necessarily music. So like I've been trying to do like I went to Monaco for audio production. Gotcha. Doing this stuff, but also like broadcasting. So gotcha. They go hand in hand.
They do.
And I was the eventually I got to be the station manager at the radio station there. Cool. And that was the best time. I loved like being part of the radio station. Like I had a show for like the first semester, but I got so involved in like the behind the scenes type of thing, where I liked just like organizing the events and like overseeing the budget. Like I did all that. So like that was more interesting to me, just like how like a business kind of runs, and just how the wheels within like a machine kind of turn. True. And I was super into that because I'd never been exposed to that before. I was always into like the very raw creative, like emotional, like I was a music major, so like it was all about like technique and the right feeling and like being very disciplined in your crafts. And it was just like you play your one part, but then when I was like 19 or 20, I was just like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to be a drum major in like a big band, because that's kind of what they groom you to do at a music school. They groom you to be almost like a conductor and like to know every aspect of. I mean that part was kind of interesting, but it was so over my head about like like I was a drummer, so it's like I'm doing a lot of percussion. I'm like in the percussion pit. That pays a lot of money. I probably blew a big opportunity, but probably screwed myself for life.
Yeah.
But no, I was just like, I was a kid and I was still in bands, and I actually dropped out to go on tour with the band I was in at the time.
Gotcha.
So like we were actually, it was for the 1 year that I was signed to like a pretty small indie, because we were making a record. The band was called Promising Attempts. Okay. And it was with Eric Atrophy.
Okay. Yeah.
It was Eric Atrophy and Ice Band. We wrote a majority, like she was kind of the spearhead. She started it, and then like her and I kind of went back and forth on songwriting. And like when things really started getting intense with like, we were recording in Cleveland, our EP became a full length because we just thought, like we have
these other songs.
We have 5, so we have these other songs. It's like we could probably pull it together, and like we can, give the label a little bit of incentive to put it out. And this label that ran in house, it was a sister label of Victory Records. So
wow.
Yeah. So take that what you will. Some if you know what happened with Victory Records around that time.
Yeah.
So,
that's why I'm saying wow.
With Neil and all that, and like we didn't know. We had no idea because we weren't doing our research. But we found out like years later that they weren't the best way to go. And I won't name the actual. I don't even know if it's in existence anymore. But I'm not even gonna go into the logistics, because they were the guys that we talked to. Like we never talked to anyone from Victory. They were just kind of subsidiaries.
Yeah, so you never take the next level to think like, hey.
No, and like, and we were so blinded by being signed to a label, and like they were like,
especially in the subsidiary thing, because like the label I'm part of is very much an independent label. It's run by a guy named Chris Hantman. He's from Massachusetts.
What's it called?
Sounds and Tones Records.
Sounds and Tones.
And like he just puts it out clearly, like this is what you need to do. These are the things. Yeah. This is what you don't do. He works for Massachusetts, like College of Loire. It's like it's very grassroots, So it's always good to know that. And I definitely think the label, like working with a label, is something that's very rewarding. But I think you always see some people that make mistakes, some people that don't know everything, and it's very different.
And and at the end of the day, it's a business, and
exactly.
Like if you're unprepared to kind of take on the business portion of it, and when you're so young, it's like you don't even know where to start. It's like we had like lawyers look over the contract and like try and amend it so like we wouldn't be in debt for like the next like 10 years.
Yeah.
But like some people like it, and it really has to do with like it's a big step for a band if you're part of a unit. That's like if you got 4 other guys, it's like are we willing to do this for like and take on the responsibilities? It's like we're signed, but like it's still gonna cost money. It's still gonna like it's still gonna kind of bear down on our lives and be like, this is a thing now. Like you can't hold down a job because you're gonna be on tour. Like you can't. So like it's kind of a double-edged sword that way. And
I almost feel like music in general, the more you get these things, the less you can rest on your laurels.
Right.
And I think a lot of people think the reverse.
Right.
Like, hey, I put out this 4-song record, Pitchfork picked it up, time to rest on our laurels.
Time to sit back and just watch the money roll in.
Yeah, and it's like, no, it doesn't work that way.
No.
It's like, you got to keep working.
It's like, what now?
Yeah. Oh, the what nows always get me. It's like, oh, you put out a record. What's next? It's like, I'm playing more music.
Yeah, good for you. What else you got?
All those hours in the studio, that didn't matter. Yeah, it's definitely hard.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in this unusual place where, I mean, we have these big ideas to like put out the new Andros record.
Yeah.
But we're still kind of in this like waiting for the mixes period. So it's like, what do you do with the downtime? And like we went pretty hard. Like we toured this summer, like just on the East Coast. And,
I remember that. Yeah,
and that was great. That was probably the best tour I ever went on. Was this year.
Good.
And it was we didn't hire a touring manager. Like we did all the booking ourselves. And we took our buddy Matt, who videotaped a lot of what went on, like every show he got with his GoPro, and
those angles are pretty cool.
And like, and I brought my GoPro, and we got really cool footage, and like we kind of want to do maybe like a little mini documentary like later on, like when the album's out and there's like a little bit more buzz, and so we have these like big plans, but it's like now we kind of got to play the waiting game a little bit.
I completely understand because
and we don't want to rest on our laurels.
I completely get where you're coming from because something that I've been doing, because most of my touring in general, unless I'm like in a car, because like I don't have a car right now, but like I plan on saving and buy one next year, is at least over the past year I've been doing mega bus tours for like a max of 5 days. I can't do it more than 5 days. So I've been doing like
well, how much is like a one way to like Chicago on a mega bus?
So Chicago, we'll talk about that because that was the most recent one.
Because I did see that.
So from Chicago, from Philly, it cost me a total of $25.
Get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get the hell out. That's awesome.
And the show, I made $85. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a gain. That's a real gain.
Oh, yeah, it's a
Had
gain.
I driven, that would have been a big loss.
It would have been a huge loss.
Yeah. But like,
or took a plane. That would have been like the biggest loss. Yeah. How long did it take though? How long was the ride?
In total, it was a 13-hour ride, but I had an 8-hour layover, and I was in I was in Penn State, and I hung out with my friend who also happened to be in town, which was like a coincidence.
Well, if you have like that network,
I went to Penn State, but like I'm at the age where like I don't know anybody except for like my friends' little brothers and sisters, you know. So I just hung out in Starbucks, took a few photos, and then I played at Penn State for the Songwriters Club, and that cost me $25. So in total, I made a little over $100.
That's great
for that weekend. So it was like really great. And like I have one more like out of state date in Long Island, and then I'm doing Lancaster and Philly this weekend.
Okay.
But like doing that not only has like helped me gain money, because I also did like a Southern tour earlier this year.
Okay.
Where my round trip travels were $30, but I made like almost $200.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? So it's been cool. But I've been doing the same like video thing, and I need to add more momentum to it as like videoing things I see. Like I'm doing one with Chicago now. It's like only like a minute and a half. And what I do is I ask if I could use the music of the people that I play with.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like saying like, yo, I want this song as a memory of where I was at, and then this video, and it's like different.
I'm sure they'd be okay with that.
Yeah, people have been okay with it. Like I did one where I did Jersey, New York, Connecticut, a town in Massachusetts, North Adams, and Boston, and I used like a Boston hardcore band.
Okay.
So like it's been very cool, but like I think the key thing that you were speaking to is like content, where to schedule it, and stuff like that. Because I'm pretty sure there's people who look at my Snapchat, my Instagram, and all that stuff, and are like, "Well, this guy stopped talking." And the truth is, like, I don't know. Like, I just know I got a lot of stuff to say. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, oh my God! Like, I remember thinking, remember, like, so, see, I come from an era where, like, when I was a teenager, like, MySpace was the big thing. So, like, if you didn't have a MySpace page, it was just like, you know, you got to get on this, like,
exactly.
You know, people direct you to the internet, and then like you have a thing, so you know, make a MySpace page, so it can all be in one place. And that was the only place it was, unless you wanted to write a blog about it on like Zango or something. But like, you know, like you put your music on MySpace, people can comment on it, people can see where your shows are. It was like kind of the primitive type of Facebook. And like even then, I would be like, I don't want to post too much because I don't want to be like I don't want to post a comment on the thing, or like I don't want to like change too much and just like, or post too much at once and just overwhelm people. Now it's like you can't even, there's no way to do that. It's like of all the avenues that you can go, it's like you can't post enough. It's like it's almost like you have to almost do something at least once a day. If you miss a day, then that's one day where like people
forgot about you.
Yeah, or they just moved on to something else. Yeah. They just like they saw something flashy over there.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, what's that?" And then and you're like, "Wait,
true.
The album's coming out." It's like you're like, so I mean, now it's like I don't even care anymore. It's just like if there's the only I mean, I don't care about posting too much. That's what I mean. The only thing I'm conscientious of is the weight of the
content,
right? The weight of like whatever I'm going to say or whatever I'm going to post. It's like, you know, if it's like a little silly thing, like it's like, hey, I saw this today, or like, you know, like, or check out this article that's over there. It's like I'll think twice about posting that, and think like, and then think like, okay, maybe if I wait one day and post this big thing, like, hey, we have new band photos, or like, hey, like this blog did like a little piece on us, or like, so like, it's almost like, you know, like it's that very fine line between oversaturation and like being like just being available, just like being,
exactly.
So like,
no, you're right. You're
it's
very
a
much
tough,
right.
it's a tightrope. It's like because you don't want to lean too far one way, and it's like,
I think the hardest is the inviting people to shows, because like,
oh, I hate doing that.
you know what? Same. Not only that, I wish Facebook, being like the primary invite to show medium, could geotag it to like, especially if you're on tour. Like, let's just say you have like a Philly, a New York, a Boston, a Pittsburgh, like all these cities dates, but you have a sample of say 4,000, 2,000, 1,000 Facebook friends. How great would it be if you could just instantly say people from this that are my friend? And then that way, when you see those friends, you know who would come and who wouldn't.
Exactly,
like, you know, grandma from Pittsburgh's not going to come to your metal show. Like, that's not a thing. But your buddy Al or Jess might. Right. You know? Because we've all been there where you
and
go
it's not
to
like
a
Facebook
city.
doesn't know where everyone is.
Exactly. So it's like...
Don't tell me they don't know.
And I talked to my friend who works for Facebook, but he works in HR, and I told him about that. He's like, I wish I knew the guy that could fix that for you. And I was like, well, you work in HR. Like, say you're going to cut somebody's paycheck or something.
Well, I know you.
Yeah, you know? But, like, I think that would make things so much easier, because how many times have we played in a different city or town, and you post pictures and you have that one friend that goes, you should have told me you were playing in that town.
Yeah.
Like,
Why didn't you tell me? I was like...
Or you didn't know they even moved because they never told you.
I know.
So, yeah, it's definitely real.
I was like, don't blame me. It's Facebook. Like,
yeah. It's definitely hard. And, like, I think the other frustrating...
It's got a long way to go. I
Yeah.
mean, it's as advanced as it is.
That's very true. I think the other thing that's hard about, like, inviting people is it's just exhausting.
And just with it's not only the pressure to do it, because people are like, well, if you don't invite anybody, they're not going to come. So it's like, it's that, and then also just like the tedium of just like having to do it and like and be very personal about it.
Exactly.
And like, because you think that you could just post the show flyer, like, or just the event page, and just be like, hey, this is a thing that's happening. But you see so many of them where it's just like, you know, you have to go in individually and like one by one. I would talk to Nate Albach, and Nate's like, dude, the way I do it, I text people. Like, I text the people, like, he goes the extra step. So like, and I think, and you know what, like, it actually does work, because it's like, it's that much more personalized.
That's very true.
It's more work, but like, people go, wow, he invited me. I don't know how many other, I can't gauge how many other people he did that to. I could be one of a select few. Yeah. And it's almost like you're put on like the VIP list.
And never group message, because you'll make that mistake.
No. Like, you don't want to, like, I think
I did that mistake.
I've had to group text, but like, that just becomes a nightmare.
Yeah. Who are you? I don't even want to go. Yeah. It's so bad.
It's like, and then like, it gets like 20 messages in like an hour.
Yeah.
And then someone's like, I'm at work, or like, I'm like taking an exam, or like something that's just like, my phone is blowing up and I hate this. Like, and they're just like, why? And then
screw your band, unlike.
Yeah. And then they're like, I don't even like your band. Like,
yeah. It's definitely, I don't know. The other thing that's hard about Facebook events is, and I definitely know everyone's experienced this, is you play the show, or on Facebook it said 5 are coming, and like 30 people show up. Or vice versa. The show said 100 people were coming.
Yeah.
You know?
And you just go by Facebook. It's like a political poll. It's just like, these people are, you know, saying they're gonna come, and you know, this is our voter turnout, and then like, it's way less when it actually happens.
Yeah, it's so
you're like,
weird.
what happened? It's like, we stayed home.
Yeah,
it was cold. We didn't want to go outside.
My favorite one is a venue that shall remain unnamed. I played this festival. It said 600 people were showing up, and I played on the street. It was supposed to be an outdoor 4th of July deal.
Oh, okay.
And there was like 50 people there. I mean, hey, either way, it's still cool. And I almost got hit by a car.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
While you were playing, like, what?
Yeah, while I was playing.
Wow, that's a nice bridge to the song. Like,
yeah.
to just like dodge traffic.
It was very weird because I'm playing. I'm like, why are people running away? Like, you've been here the whole set. And then I look to my left. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh,
yeah.
Was it one of those like old guys that didn't that got confused about the pedals and like plowed through the flea market, or
well,
was he like, oh my god, like I'm sorry, like
so it turned out that the street wasn't legally blocked off.
oh.
DOI, and they had the the street sticker thing, like, hey, don't drive through here. And the lady that drove through was just like, forget this, and then just drove right through.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
See, that's I get scared with that. Like,
oh yeah, I get
scared on like First Friday, like when there's just people in the street. I'm just like, it could just take one just delirious person right now.
Mm-hmm.
And to plow through 500 people.
Yep, that's very true.
I always say that, and of course it's not gonna happen. But
that's what I've noticed about music. It's always that one person or one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But hey,
one tiny spark.
Yeah,
to start the fire.
It's always like, man, that was crazy.
Chaos theory.
Yeah.
All right. Here, let's talk about the Kevin Devine record.
Kevin Devine, Instigator.
Yeah.
What I've really liked about Instigator is I felt like it was a culmination of like Concrete in the Clouds and like his other records. Like,
I actually like I think Instigator is the first Kevin Devine record where I actually listened to it all the way through. Like,
gotcha.
I wasn't a Kevin Devine guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I knew who he was. I think I knew him through Brand New because
he works with them
because they're very close and they're both from New York. They're from like New York, and I had heard of Kevin Devine through that and knew that he was kind of this very cult, like, I guess, indie guy where people like they're cult like about him in the way people are with like Brand New.
That's very true.
So I don't know if that's why like I was just like he'll he's not going anywhere, but like when you told me about Instigator, I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I really liked it. I mean, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know if it was going to be like kind of soft and confessional, like, or anything like that. But like, it was actually like what I got from it was like it's really anthemic.
Exactly. Yes.
I don't know if is that normal for him? Like, is that how does Instigator differ? Now that I know what Instigator is, like,
so like
how does
every
it differ
one
from,
of his records, like Make the Clocks Move, Concrete and Clouds. It's definitely not called Bulldozer, but the one that has Bulldozer on it.
Okay.
Like all those records usually have like 2 or 3 songs on the record that are anthemic and like powerful, but the rest of the songs,
like driven, guitar. And,
and like you'll just have like your I guess you call them passing tracks.
Yeah,
but like I felt like Instigator was like one after the other.
Yeah,
and they streamed very well. Like, and I personally think Title Fight's very good at doing that.
Oh yeah,
especially in Floral Green. Like,
yes,
I think every rock band goes, hey, it doesn't have to sound like that, but the way that flows, I want to do something like that.
They made a great record with that.
And so that's what I really liked about it. And I even liked the fact that like there were different like societally relevant things in the record. Yeah. Namely Freddie Gray Blues.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty important song on that record.
I remember when I saw on his Facebook, like it was like 2 days after the Freddie Gray incident happened. He just said, it was like something along the lines of like, hey, my heart is broken, so I wrote a song for Freddie Gray. Mm-hmm. And it got so much attention, Facebook took it down.
Really?
Yeah.
It broke Facebook.
Because no, it broke Facebook because you just had people that clearly did not listen to like Kevin Devine, but just hated the fact that a white guy sang about Freddie Gray.
That's so
weird. You had all sorts of controversy, like people going like, go man, to like, how could you do this, to I hate black people, like all sorts of like comments.
Oh my god.
And Facebook just took it down. That's
so weird. Oh, and I kind of get that, but there's a big part of me that's surprised because the song is very it's kind of a mid-tempo track, and it's got its kind of sad, morose. It's called Freddie Gray Blues.
Yeah. But
it's just kind of commenting just about hearing about the news. It's not incendiary or angry in any way. It's not like it's not bitter at all. It's just kind of like, this sucks. Like, let's call attention to it. It's very benign in that way.
Yeah.
And that it's just interesting how just a very just he had the best intentions. He just wanted to
yeah.
he just wanted to write a song about a sad thing that almost like like Bob Dylan,
Mm-hmm.
like in like Hurricane. He's talking about like the tragedy of this like boxer.
Exactly.
But so like he's just kind of talking about it. He wasn't saying, you know, fuck the police. It was like, but that's interesting that they would get so up in arms about it.
And Kevin Devine's just like someone that like I really look up to as a musician. And if you look at what's the song, A Bag of Bones. That's like an old song he wrote.
Yeah.
Some years ago. That's about blood diamonds in Africa.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you know.
Bag of Bones, huh?
So like this isn't the first song that he's written that's like society relevant to like
socially conscious
or socially conscious, or like he has another song called like I Don't Care About Your Band, which like I personally think he has this line where it's like test tube made or an honest man. I don't care about your band, because he's talking about like those bands, like I said before, that literally write a 4-song EP and are on Pitchfork or Stereogum and become like the best band ever, or they write one full length,
you know, band to watch.
Like, and they write one full length, and then like the next year you don't hear about them because like they can't take the attention. Like,
right.
So
they kind of took all the attention, like they kind of took it on the nose,
like immediately, versus the band that's like, yo, my back catalog's like 6 albums. Album 7, that was the one.
Right.
like, you know what I mean? Like, we've been hustling for a good 10 years now.
It's all about number 7.
Yeah. Like,
rolling the dice again. It's
and like, I think, I mean, just as a musician, I had to get humble about that. Because, like, I definitely know if you talked to me like 2-3 years ago, I was trolling Facebook going like, oh, screw you, you don't know what you're doing. And now it's just like, yo, you got to work hard, bottom line. But like, I think Kevin Devine's Instigator, it has a lot of elements his previous albums had, but it was like a little sprinkle there, a little sprinkle there. Yeah, and this one's just like everything.
I think he just wanted to make a solid effort where like before he was, and I know that's like there are records where you want to do something that has like a lot of dimensions to it, a lot of different faces. I think when I listen to this record, it's like I can tell he wanted to make something with just solid songs that he can pull out, almost like Floral Green.
Yeah.
That they could pull out at any show, you know, and it could just be, you know, it could be almost, it's all like quintessential, I guess.
Exactly.
So like I kind of like I didn't know if that's what he was going for, because I didn't know his back catalog that well. But it seems to me that like that kind of record is like almost like when a band wants to be quintessential.
Yeah.
When they just want to, you know, just write solid ass song and not be too artsy, but just have enough of their, you know, enough of their kind of eccentricities come out. So like, and I liked it a lot. And I knew it was coming out. I had heard about it, but I didn't feel compelled to listen to it until you were like, oh, I really want to talk about this.
Yeah. And he's going on tour with Pine Grove and Pedal. It's a national tour. Yeah. So I think that's going to be really cool.
Are they coming through Philly?
Yeah, I think so. Late this month or early next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could check it out there.
But I saw Kevin Devine at South by. And like, I don't know, just watching him taught me about like performing. Especially as like a songwriter who's solo as well as like full band, because that's what he does. He does solo sets.
Right, he's a solo guy, and then sometimes he'll have a band with him. Right.
Yeah, and like I thought it was cool, just seeing him going like, "Hey, we're Kevin Devine," bam, like, you know. Or then like when he was playing by himself, he would play his songs and then like see the crowd and then just start playing a song. Like he once played "Zombie."
By the Cranberries?
By the Cranberries. He's like, this isn't even in my set, but you look like you like "Zombie" by the Cranberries. And the whole audience started singing it, you know?
There's a beauty in that, to just pull out just a crowd pleaser at any given moment.
Yeah, and I think that's like a fun thing to do, like when you play. So,
yeah, I should do that.
Yeah.
I can't even... That's the thing. I would get halfway through and be like, "How does the bridge go?"
Yeah, yeah. Everyone does that. Oh, you didn't play the whole song. I don't think anyone does. Yeah.
It's like, you're gonna play this whole song, okay?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's funny. Was that the first time you saw him? Or?
Yeah, at South by I saw him multiple times.
Okay.
When I was at South by Southwest, I kind of felt like it was like a rebirth for me in a very good way, because like the way I perceived myself, the way I perceived music, the way I like perceive just like it just kind of opened my mind to going like, whoa, the world's really fucking huge.
Perspective.
I mean? Like, yo, you need to get out of Philly, but still be there, but like get out. Like, all sorts of things. But like, I definitely saw a lot of bands multiple times in one day. Like,
right.
I saw Title Fight 3 times in one day.
Dude, I would love to.
And that's when Hyperview just came out. You know what I mean?
I love Hyperview.
Like,
I would have freaked out. I would have been like, I don't care. Just play all of Hyperview. Just be this band, because I don't care. When that record came out, everyone's like, what is this? Like, it's not, because it was coming off of Floral Green. Mm-hmm. And Floral Green is this perfect, like, I'm going to say it's a rock record.
Yeah, it totally is.
It's a rock because there's melody, there's gruffness from Ned, there's melody, there's punk in it, there's there's a lot of elements in it, and that's to me what a good rock record is. It's like, I always thought that, like, just, because I would hate to pigeonhole a record, especially a record like Floral Green, into saying like, oh, it's a punk rock record. Where it's just like, well, kind of. It's like you're missing a lot of the, like, if you were to listen to it, you would go, there's a lot of, there's like shoegaze in it, and like it kind of, those kind of atmospheric, like ethereal parts that Jamie was doing, like kind of ushered in, and they were like, okay, we want to make a whole record of this. Yeah, I was totally cool with that. I was at a point I would have been cool with, even if they went back to like kind of the aggressiveness of Shed. Like, I would have been cool with that too. But they pull off the ethereal shoegaze type stuff really well, and they chose to make a whole record like that. And I'm like, this is awesome. I love it. Like,
and what's also cool,
it's a new color of the band, and I think it's kind of cool.
Is I saw them literally go from Like a Ritual to Chlorine to Shed.
Oh wow!
Like in order, like in their set list.
Was it awkward, or like did they pull it off?
Streamless.
Really?
Which blew my mind, because you would think, like, listening on the recordings, like, well, that's a little weird. Yeah. But no, they made it work.
They're one of the best bands in my lifetime.
I would agree,
because they just
they really play really well together. It's insane.
They write such good songs, and they're. Every now and then I'll hear a song that I'll be like, God, I wish I wrote that. Yeah. Oh my God. And Like a Ritual is one of them. Head in the Ceiling Fan is another one. Yep. Like,
because they're so simple.
They're so simple. It's like they got away with murder. Yeah. And I'm like, God damn it, I want to get away with murder.
Like, why didn't I not think of dun 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 dun? Like, you know what I mean? Like that line is so easy.
I know. It's just like, it's a no-brainer. And you catch yourself going, God, I thought about this too much. Like, damn it. And yeah, and like it was funny. I think the more people hate Hyperview, the more I like it.
Same, I could agree with that.
Because like people are like, it's whatever. I saw them at UT. Okay. They it was Title Fight, Bouncing Composure. Okay. And Super Heaven.
Okay, formerly Daylight.
Yeah, it was. They were Daylight at the time.
Gotcha.
Because I actually saw Daylight twice that year. Once with Bouncing Composure, and then they opened for 4 Year Strong and Bayside. Ooh. Which that was a good show, but the sound guy kind of sucked. Okay. But that was actually the last, and I didn't know it was the last show that Daylight played. It was at the Trocadero. Gotcha. It was the last show Daylight played as Daylight. Gotcha. Because the next day they announced on Facebook. They didn't even say it they didn't mention it during the show. They were just like, "Bye, we're Daylight," and the next day they announced on Facebook that they were Super Heaven. I'm just like, did I just see the last Daylight show?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was the last one, because I think they were home, so they were doing their tour. Wow, that was a pretty good show. And then I saw them again the third time when they opened for Bouncing Composure at the Doylestown Senior Center or retirement thing. Did you go to that show?
No, I didn't even know that was a show.
Yeah, they played at the there's a retirement center in Doylestown somewhere, and Bouncing Composure headline, and Pedal opened. Wow. Yeah, and it was Pedal and Super Heaven, and it was last year, so it was 2015. Yeah, that sounds right. It was like winter of last year. But that was a good show. Yeah. I like that.
I saw Pedal in a Drexel living room with Slaughter Beach dog, Jake Ebold.
Okay.
From Modern Baseball.
Oh, Jake from Modern Baseball.
Yeah. Okay. He has a side project called Slaughter Beach Dog.
Okay. I'm trying desperately to get into Modern Baseball.
I had no idea how big Pedal actually was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're pretty
big. she was so modest.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, you were really good. She's like, I'm just getting started out. And I was like, and then when I looked her up, I was like, you lied.
Yeah.
You are not just getting started out.
Don't sell yourself short. I see you.
Yeah, like.
No, she was.
I had every intention to be like, yo, want to play a show?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you starting to run recover. That's not how it works. I'm just going to back out.
Dude, give it a shot. I mean,
I should have.
I'm at a point where I don't think labels mean that much.
That's true.
And like, and not in the sense where it's like they do a lot, but like, I don't think it affects the whole outcome of the game, you know,
that's true.
that much. I think it's just
true.
being signed is like, you know, just having like it's like upgrade. It's like going like the Facebook Pro or something, or it's like upgrading to first class a little bit.
Or like some things that you would have spent, you don't spend anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
That's very true.
And I just think the industry's built like that now.
That's very true.
And there's not such a big emphasis on it. I think if it was like 91 and you got signed to a major label and like, yeah, then you're gonna play Pukal Pop or whatever, like in Germany and shit.
Yeah,
and you're getting flown out to Zimbabwe and Australia. Yeah. Like that's a big deal. Yeah. Because like then your life is just different now. Yeah. But like, you know, I think now when you sign to a label, yeah, you still go to work and like.
So you're right. You're actually I always forget that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
It's a big change, man. And we live in that. We live in like a weird time where it's like we kind of make our own futures. Yep. And like that, I think it's good and bad because it's not the way we thought it would be when we were kids. Mm-hmm. Because when we were kids, we were just like, we want the record label to come and take us away from responsibilities and life and shit. But now it's like, you know, it doesn't work like that. So we have to live with our life. We have to live with our responsibility.
One thing I wish, like in the industry, is if streaming royalties were more clear cut.
Oh my god!
Know? I think we could go about that like on a totally different episode, but like
it's a whole 2 hours of
when you look at like your CD Baby or your YouTube royalties
or your
Spotify royalties. It's just like, how is it that this song that got played on October 5th, mm-hmm. October 5, what? October 5, October 5th. Gave me 5 cents, but on October 6th, it was 7 cents. Like, you know,
like, it's like a mutual fund, like a stock market. You know? I dude, all that shit goes over my head, and like all I know is that it's. I think a lot of these distribution companies will they'll use the kind of shifty language mm-hmm. and the kind of the unclear mm-hmm. protocol to kind of take advantage of artists that were just like, you want your songs out there, you made a demo, like, you know, you want to get on the, you know, the next level of bigness, then, you know, you better put your shit on Spotify on our shit, and then, you know, and then they're like, and then they don't tell you then what. It's just like, it's like, you want to be big shit that now
give us more money.
Yeah, then sign with us, man. And then everyone's like, okay, like, just take it, please. We want to be big, and like, you know, they're just like, and then when it's time to pay the piper, it's like, okay, here's your, you know, check for 30 cents. Yeah, it's like, this got like 10,000 plays. It's just like, yeah, I mean, like, it goes to us. It goes into a pool, actually. It's a pool. It's a pool.
That's what they say.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's a pool, and the bigger cuts go to the most downloaded, the most streamed. Yeah. It's usually like Taylor Swift or like Fetty Wap.
Well, Taylor Swift's like, oh, I don't need that money. It's only $50,000.
When she found out about that, she was fucking livid. She was like, that's not. I don't want to be the scapegoat. I don't want to be the. I don't want to be the enemy here. I didn't make this. Like. And so now everyone, like, it's like, I don't want to take everyone's hard-earned money. Like, so that's why she backed out for a while, because the model kind of like drew her as the devil. Yeah. So, and oh, dude, it's so crazy. And like, I think there's a lot to be said about doing it yourself and being your own company, and just.
That's very true.
And cause like, why not just learn what happens? Like, you know, like, I bought one book. There's a book in that stack over there. It's just called The Business of Music. I read it on a plane one time. I was going to Nashville or something, and I just read it on the plane, and I was just like, I was fascinated just by, like, you know, and it's all legal jargon. It's all, but like, once you, it's like a textbook really, and like, you start reading it, and it goes into, like, you know, royalty statements and just how contracts work and re-ups and like digital distribution. It touches on that because it's kind of an older book, but it knows enough about it to go like, okay, this is where it's going, and it's kind of right. So like it all kind of just transpired the way it was predicted to. So, and it's a pretty interesting book. And like just having looked at a contract when I was 19, it was like it was eye opening to see like where someone who's writing up the contract would want you have to recoup these losses. Like, we're gonna give you an advance, but you have to bring it recoup, you have to recoup, and it's just like, if you don't, we're gonna be hitting you up, and like and if you don't, we'll drop you, and then and it's like it's so involved, and it's just like. And to me, and now that I'm like, each year goes by, I'm like, I'm 26 now. It's just like, why not just like learn it? Why not just like these people know it? So why can't I know it? Like, what's?
I completely hear you. Yeah, because I'm 28, so like we're in the same other side of 25 realm, and like my big thing is, you don't do music for money. You do it for the message.
Yeah, you do it. And not even like even if you don't have a clear message, it's just like
that love, the drive. Like,
you do it for your identity. You do it just because you like it. It's your thing, and you see other people doing it, and you want in on it. So,
but what's sad, but also like important, is I think it shifted where if you were a good singer in like 1955, you had someone take care of everything, and you trusted that person. Keyword is trust, because there's definitely some musicians that got screwed over. Now it's not kind of like, music. Now it's like, you got to know your stuff, and you have to have another skill set.
Mm-hmm. And in a way that's better, because you're not handing your life over to someone else. And exactly. It's like this person now is responsible for two people, themselves and you. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, there's a bit of liberation in where you're your own entity and you call the shots, but it's also a little bit more pressurized and intense, and you put yourself in a pressure cooker where you got to stay active, and you got to keep up with it. It keeps you up at night. It keeps you, Like I drink coffee like religiously.
Oh yeah, same dude. Coffee's amazing.
Coffee like
La Colombe, Starbucks, all of it.
I was reading a thing like we consume like 30 million gallons of coffee.
I believe it.
A year, and it's like it's ridiculous. Like millennials, like us, like. And I'm just like, well, yeah, because we're all our own company now. It's like we work for this company, and then we come home and work for our own company. Yep. Even if we're not like legally,
because it's not just musicians; it's startups, people that want to do other things, food trucks, the whole nine.
Like food trucks. Like if you're like a photographer, like if you're like a freelance artist, like you got, you have to upkeep your website and upkeep this, and it's just like it's all upkeep for this thing that like you just kind of do. To have an identity, to be active. So,
it's definitely a really very.
It's a strange time, and it's like it's got its good and bad, but
or like I'm trying to learn how to capitalize on my blog, and then use that money to cover other costs, like my studio costs, things like that.
Well, like I'm hoping maybe like if this for some, like I'm doing it for fun. But I always leave room for the opportunity of like, if this catches on, then I can incorporate like I can maybe throw on the GoPro and like have it like a put it on Facebook Live, and like people can see what we're talking about. Or even just do something like there's enough listenership and like other blogs cover it, and then like. And I'm so far from that because this is like the third episode, but like, but then sponsorships come in, and then people like there's companies that were just like, hey, you have a lot of traffic, you have a lot of viewership,
and we like what you're saying,
right? And it's just like if people are gonna see what you see, can we put our our food truck logo on, and we'll pay you to like do just to cover our thing, and it's like that's and podcasts will do that where it's just like if enough people watch, it's like. It entices companies to want to sponsor you. So.
Have you heard of Epic Mealtime?
Yeah.
I think that's like the best example of that because like we live in this world where not anything, but you could almost do anything if you do it well enough where people identify.
Yep.
Like things happen for you, and like I think what's amazing about that guy is he was a third grade teacher. Like, what? Yeah. You went from a 3rd grade teacher to like the face of bacon.
That guy, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Anything's possible.
And now he's like making cameos in movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just because people will recognize him, just be like, "That's the guy."
Yeah, that's the dude.
And yeah, everything kind of opens a new door. So it's like, and even if it's like a little door, it's like little door here, little door there.
Yeah,
and it just kind of grows.
It's a big picture.
Yeah, it just kind of. I can't think of the word. It just kind of goes from there. But, but yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful time. Beautiful time to be alive.
It is. It is. It definitely is.
Well, what are you working on now? I mean, Solace came out this year, right?
Yeah. So my record Solace came out, and
called Solace.
Yeah.
Is it Solace or Solace?
It's Solace.
Okay.
And I plan on touring on it like probably all the way up to like next early summer.
Okay.
I won't hit like the studio till then, or I might hit the studio. But like the 2 things I'm working on now is like, one, I'm writing an acoustic EP. I want to make it 4 to 6 songs. I might either A, record it in my bedroom, B, record it lo-fi with Jake and like a cello player.
Do like an Awakening Mercury type thing.
Yeah, like something like that. And like the themes around that is kind of like the stuff that I wanted to be on Solace but didn't make it, and stuff I'm working on.
Sure, yeah.
So it's gonna be like 3 and 3, and like it might have like a little bit of a Bon Iver vibe, which will be weird considering that's not my sound, but that's kind of what I'm writing.
Well, what kind of Bon Iver? Like old Bon Iver,
like
or
old Bon
Iver? Gotcha. Where it's like it sounds like you're in a cabin.
Type of thing, that type of stuff.
I gotcha. Okay.
And then I want to write a record surrounding around the theme of male body image and the self-esteem and what it is to become like secure with yourself.
Sure, yeah.
Because some big things that were happening to me while I was recording Solace is just like Solace is kind of like, hey, I know I just wrote like almost like, what is it, like 2 EPs and 2 splits and a few singles about like just being a fucked up person, you know, and like being depressed. Woe is me. Solace is kind of like, this is what's bothering me, but this is what I'm trying to like stay up and be persistent about.
Sure. Yeah.
And I want to write the second record kind of about like, I'm staying persistent, but I'm still not confident, but I'm trying to be confident.
Right.
So that's kind of like what the theme is. And like A Day Without Love, my intent from the very beginning was to make it a themed project.
Yeah, sure.
And that's kind of like what the record is. And like, I kind of want to start, like I'm starting to write songs for it, but I don't want to record it until I reach my like goal weight loss.
Okay.
And I'm like 35 pounds to go till I'm at my goal weight loss.
Well, dude, that's awesome. I mean, you do look good. I mean, you look healthy. Like,
thank you.
And like, I don't think I knew you when you were heavier.
Yeah, I was like 289, and you didn't know me.
Yeah, I had no idea. But yeah, dude. I mean, like, whatever you're doing, like, that's keep it up. And I think it's really cool that you incorporate your art into it and kind of use both as kind of a motivation for each other.
Yeah.
Because I've always kind of like I think I was kind of bigger in and when I say bigger, I was like, just 160, 170. I think I was this weight, but I was just like shorter. Mm-hmm. And like in high school, and I just so I was kind of bigger in high school, and then through college, and I think somewhere around like when I came back from tour from Promising Attempt, I was just like, one thing I wanted now that the contract was up and the band broke up, I want to do this Andros thing. And then at the time I was doing like frontman. I wasn't playing guitar, so I didn't have a guitar to hide behind. Mm-hmm. So I was just being a frontman. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I kind of used that as a motivation to be like, I'm like the thing, like, believe it or not, everyone's going to be looking at me. So it's like, I kind of want to like be okay with being on stage in front of people. Sure. That was like the one thing that was kind of holding me back from doing something like that. So it's just like, if I was going to be bold enough to make Andros a full band and be the front man, I was going to be bold enough to come down to the weight that I wanted to have. True. So like I looked probably, I felt probably my best like when I was like 21, 22. Mm-hmm. And then that was a turning point in my life. Because before then, I just like I always battled my weight, and I always battled like my self-image. Mm-hmm. So like just doing that like that, I totally get you where you're trying to use both hobbies or like use both interests to kind of like motivate each other.
Yeah.
And
like I think it's interesting because like another thing I'm doing in addition to doing the YouTube videos of like places and things I see, I really like food. And like if I were to say like what does making it look like for you, it would be touring the U.S. and trying food and cooking food for people.
Oh, yeah.
And playing in houses. Now, realistically, like, that's a lot of money, budget, and sponsors behind you. But what I can do now
That's like a TV. That's like a Netflix show.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But, like, what I can do now is I could go to different cities and try restaurants and ask them, hey, do you mind if I video the food and talk about it? And make videos about that. So I'm doing my first one about Chicago. I tried different pizza. And, like, I think like
how was that deep dish?
It was amazing. Okay, actually, I'm gonna say one place was amazing. Giordano's was amazing.
Yeah.
But Lou Malnati's, which is like the other most talked about, it didn't really appeal to me. And then I tried this other place called Chicago's, which is funny because it's like Chicago, and Chicago was like really good. But
it's like having like a Philly cheesesteaks in like in Philly
or Gino's or like Jim's, and everyone goes like, hey, this other place, like, but I like food, and like I definitely think, like for me with weight loss, I definitely ate my depression. You know, some people don't eat their depression. I ate and drank my depression. You know,
gotcha.
And like a lot of people say, like the male ego is fragile. It really is.
Oh my god.
People say it in people say it in such a defense mechanism, like, "Ha, male, you're like." But the reality is, they're no less or more fragile than any other gender or identity. And I think if I were to put that just from my perspective, hopefully I would shed some light to that understanding, because
I just think masculinity inherently is fragile.
Yeah.
Just the idea of being forthright with how, just with your gender, just the thing that you were. Just like there's an archetype of how you're supposed to be.
Like you're born, it's like toughen up,
right?
It's like, whoa,
yeah,
I'm only 2 months.
Yeah,
that makes no sense.
I'm still shitting on my diaper. God damn,
like chill, Dad. Like you can't do that. That's not how it's supposed to be.
That's what Glass Elephant's about.
Yeah,
the first song on the most recent Andros record.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's like when you imagine like a glass elephant, I guess. Yeah. But like you get that imagery, but like it's also like this big proud thing, but it's very fragile. And if you put a chink in it, it's very fragile and
it breaks,
and it breaks very easily. So like, that's kind of what that song's about, where it's just about like putting your masculinity aside and just looking at like what's really important. Like
exactly,
like looking past like the way genders are supposed to be, like these like archetypes that like. Don't really align with who you are on the inside. So it's
exactly.
Like, and I think, I thought about that like for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's like my game plan creatively, but
that's awesome, man. I mean,
now, I'm going to take a mini break to write as well as to like, I personally, this is very weird about me. I don't believe in doing shows in the holidays.
Okay.
Like, and it's only because like I like to have time with my grandma and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
So I like except for one show, the month of December, I'm done. Like
and that's like
your in social media. But
that's like your little. That's your own personal holiday.
Yeah.
Though. So it's like you wouldn't want to muddy it up with
exactly. And I have like a few shows this month, and then it's like my last show in November is November 17th, and then the rest of November I'm done. Do one show December 3rd, and then I'm done. And then I get back to it January 8th, and I'll just be playing, like, New Jersey, New York, and all that other stuff.
Nice. Yeah, the general surrounding area.
Yeah, yeah. And, like, different cities on weekends and weekdays. So
that's great, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you guys are listening, check out Solace. It's the new A Day Without Love record. It's really cool. It kind of reminds me of the Smiths. I don't know.
Oh, cool.
So, like, upon first listen, I was like, I'm getting a Smithsy vibe, a Morrissey type of vibe, but it's really good. It's really good indie rock. Brian, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, no problem. This was great.
Yeah, dude. Well, I'll probably catch you like whenever you start doing shows again.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Word up.